Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Martin and today we're looking at The Lost Boys. Now I have seen The Lost Boys, but the last time I saw it was about 4-ish years ago at a Halloween party, and as you might expect, wasn't really paying too much attention to the actual TV when the movie was on, because it's a party. So, and then before that, I think, probably another couple of years before that is when I actually sat down and watched it beginning to end properly. So it's been a little while since I've watched it. Can't remember everything. The things that stick out in my mind are obviously Kiefer Sutherland, very young, some very stylized 80s costumes, some sort of slow-mo shots to make everything look a little bit sort of weird, and just generally a kind of a fun vampire romp. That's sort of what I remember from this film. But yeah, it's going to be fun to revisit it and actually sit and watch it properly again for the first time in a little while. And this is going to be more probably in line with like the Thing reaction and stuff, where it's going to be more of a commentary than a reaction, but there might be stuff that surprises me. Guess we'll find out together. But without further ado, let's jump into The Lost Boys. Yeah, this is the kind of thing I remember. But they sort of slow the film down just a little bit, and it makes them feel like they're moving really weirdly. Look, it's Bill! I wonder how they got all these swooping shots, like a helicopter or a crane? I don't know. There he goes. Bye. It's interesting. I do wonder how they got those. I assume it must have been a helicopter. There's no drones, obviously, so. That's disconcerting.
Playing dead. And from what I heard, doing a damn good job of it, too.
Dad! Oh, Dad.
This is what we've got to live with now. This old man who's going to pretend to be dead every time we walk in.
I haven't seen a TV, Mike. You know what it means when there's no TV? No MTV. Sammy, we're flat broke.
Couldn't get any more 80s than that. There's no MTV! What am I gonna do?
I ever knew didn't improve her situation by getting... Second shelf is mine. That's where I keep my root beers and my double thick Oreo cookies. Now, there's another rule around here, and I want you to pay close attention. Don't touch anything. Everything is exact.
You have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. You don't need a TV.
Faultless logic. Faultless. Once you've read it, you know what's going to happen. Don't worry about it. Oh, it was love at first sight. As I just creepily stare at you from the crowd. Now, this guy who's on stage, who you probably can't hear because I've muted the music for copyright issues, the saxophonist and singer, I believe he's doing work with a band called Gunship. So, if you're into the music from this movie, I would recommend going and looking them up. Not that I'm sponsored by them or anything, just they're worth looking up if you're into it. I do love all the sort of missing posters and stuff. It's a great way of, I mean, it's used in loads of films, but it's a great way of sort of setting up the weird stuff.
I told you not to come in here anymore.
Our interactions are so much more interesting when you sort of know
Wild kids.
where it comes from.
How are you?
Hello.
That's my
Goonies!
dog, Thorn.
Hi, Thorn.
Goonies is on,
Well,
on the
how may I
show.
help you this evening? We have it all.
Richard Donner,
Best
fucking
selection of videotapes in Santa Carla.
promoting his own stuff.
Actually, I'm not looking for it.
You're chasing that girl, aren't you? Come on, admit it, you're chasing her.
Yeah, like a creep.
I'm at the mercy of your sex plans, bud.
Let me follow her everywhere she goes.
Here's something.
Her fucking knowing smile is great. It's so good, knowing where it goes, like he's obviously like chosen his victim. Good movie if you've seen it before and you can pick up on things you didn't notice the first time around.
I thought I heard something.
Forget it.
The door wasn't enough. We want the roof this time. Yep, up he goes. I love how ridiculous this is. It's so over the top and silly. It's great.
Well, we having fun or what?
I thought we were going to town.
That's as close to town as I like to get.
What a weirdo, man.
He must have to go to town at some point. He needs to get those Oreo cookies. If he doesn't go to town, how's it going to get stocked?
Hey, man. Read this.
I told you, I don't like horror comics.
Think of it more as a survival manual. There's a number on the back. And pray that you never need to call us.
It is a fun device to have them, like, learn about vampires via comic books rather than, like, traditional, like, we'll learn about them via movies or the books, like the Dracula novel and stuff. No, we've learned everything we know about vampires via comic books.
If you want your hair pierced, I'll do it.
What's your name?
Star.
You know where Hudson's Bluff is overlooking the point?
I can't beat your bike.
You don't have to beat me, Michael. You just have to try and keep up.
It's like he's already in his head. It's interesting. Like, you can already see Michael sort of trying to conform to their style by buying, like, the leather jacket and getting the ear piercing and stuff. It's interesting. It's an interesting way of just sort of showing the transformation already starting to manifest itself. What was it about the 80s and, like, the bad boy teenagers and their motorbikes? What was it? That was like an obsession at the time. I mean, to be fair, my parents, who were like teens in the 80s, a bit older, and they did explain to me that like bikes were such a much more viable option than getting a car, so maybe it's something to do with that. I don't know.
How far are you willing to go, Michael?
It's interesting. The sort of the Michael and Kiefer Sutherland relationship. It kind of reminds me of fucking Point Break with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze. Never really thought of that before, but it's a similar vibe to it.
Not bad, huh?
Obviously, this came first, but
Michael? Food. That's what I love about it.
he just had a bird in his hand. Here's a bird.
Thank you.
One of the reasons I divorced your father was because he never believed in the closet monster.
I mean, definitely. You wouldn't want him coming out of your closet, would you?
What just happened to
How are those maggots? Maggots, Michael. You're eating maggots. How do they taste?
Leave him alone.
Just fucking with him. It's so weird how big the whole movie is, like in its look and design, but all the sort of supernatural powers are played so subtly. Like you don't know exactly how he's getting into his head on it. And by subtle, I mean like they're not doing like a weird sort of sound effect or visual effect to show that he's getting inside his head. It's just is what it is.
Drink some of this, Michael. Be one of us.
He's just like, are you okay? Is there more in there that I should know about? This, ladies and gentlemen, is called peer pressure.
Marco,
That's a cool shot.
what's going on?
Again, that weird blend of like traditional foggy spookiness with something modern. Michael's very easily swayed, isn't he? He's very easily. I just want to be one of the cool guys. I mean, there he goes. I do find this whole thing very interesting. Like it's like weird. In order for the blood to really take effect, does he have to sort of take this leap, so it's like a weird adrenaline hit that like activates it.
Hey, anything around here that might pass for aftershave?
How about some Windex, Grandpa?
Yeah, enjoy some of that, huh?
This is like such a fucking psycho shot. Like directly lifted from it almost. Pretty fucking creepy though. I like how he's silhouetted and you just hear the breathing and shit. The dog knows! The dog knows! Ugh. Fucking dog took it for the team there.
Mike, what happened?
That's a bite right there. That dog
Look.
saved
What
your
about
life.
Look? What'd you do to my dog, you asshole? You're creature of the night, Michael. Just like out of a comic book. You're a vampire, Michael. My own brother, a goddamn shit-sucking vampire. Well, you
So-
wait till Mom finds out, buddy.
It's so, I love it. I love how it's just like an argument between brothers. This is cool. I've forgotten about this. This is a cool little effect. Must have all been done in wires and shit, but it's... I don't know if you want to go out the window, dude. You'll just fly away. It's so good, though. Oh, look at this. Look at that. That's great. Clearly a stunt guy, but
Nothing.
you can't, like, see the strings, as it were.
Mom, I can't talk about it on the phone. It's about Michael.
Don't listen to him, Mommy doesn't know what he's saying. Sam doesn't know what he's saying.
Shut up, Sam.
Mom, help!
Oh, it's so good.
Oh my God.
It's so good.
You got carried away by a comic book?
It was a scary comic, Mama.
I mean, he's scared of the closet. I mean, come on now.
You've been eating pizza?
No, why?
Ooh, you smell like garlic.
How did he think he was... like, he took the robe off. She was gonna see it. Here's my garlic. I like to wear garlic when I go to bed. Just soothes me a little bit, you know, helps the dreams come to me, and it's a good time.
What's happening?
What? It's so weird how quickly just like falling in love she had. Like she just fallen in love with him. And now they're banging. They met each other 2 nights ago.
If there's a girl,
I'm tired, Mom.
we could talk.
I'm tired.
We could talk about anything you wanted to talk about.
I have more serious things in my mind than girls in school. There's things I'm dealing with that you can...
Things I wouldn't understand.
It's a good allegory for sort of coming of age stuff. Hounds of Hell. That's a good cut. That's a good cut. He's fucking crazy. This dog's crazy. I've never sort of noticed that before, that they're sort of playing with the leather jacket pop collar as sort of a pastiche of the old sort of Bela Lugosi kind of collar.
Well, you're the man of the house, and I'm not coming in until you invite me.
You're invited.
Thanks very much.
Oh, that's sweet.
Well, that was awkward as fuck.
Mom?
Jesus Christ.
Another budding chef in the family.
I mean, it's clearly a shit ton of garlic in that.
Are you all right?
No, it's not cheese. It's garlic.
I mean,
You
clearly,
hate garlic, don't you?
No, I like garlic.
It's in your pants.
I do love this scene. It's sort of a great diversion.
Gosh.
He's not glowing.
I know. Hit the lights.
Sam, what has gotten you?
Initiation's over, Michael. It's time to join the club.
Spooky! I thought this made my memory playing tricks with me. I sort of remember them looking slightly more horrific, but it's a good vampire look as vampires go. Oh, just right at the top of his head. Oh.
Now you know what we are. Now you know what you are. You'll never grow old, Michael. And you'll never die. But you must feed.
Kiefer Sutherland's great in this movie. He really is. He really sells it.
It was that night in the cave, wasn't it? That wasn't wine they gave me to drink. It was blood.
Well, duh.
That was David's blood.
Didn't you taste
You
it?
drank someone's... No, don't even.
Good night, blood sucker.
No!
You got him. You got it. Oh, no, nice. Just covered in goop. That gotta hurt. That's burning. That's a. I love that. I love that little moment. The tear, like, it's such a. There's so much you could read into it. It's a great moment.
Grandpa? The widow...
And this is hot. This whole bit is like Home Alone with vampires. What more can you ask for? If there's anything you could ask to make Home Alone better, put vampires in it. Jesus.
You kill Marco! Yeah, you're next! No, you're next!
That's so stupid.
Garlic don't work, boys! I only want her death breath!
Holy water works. Holy water works. Go, dog, go! This dog is fucking MVP of this movie. The dog's like, fuck that. Oh. Everyone's like, I'm going out, I'm taking the whole house with me. The plumbing will not survive.
You miss, sucker!
Once, pal.
Ah, there you go. Oh, he's going out with the power of rock and roll.
You are a killer.
He's still not giving up on him. He's not giving up on the dream. Okay, that looks a bit weird.
It's too late. My blood is in your veins.
Soul is mine!
That's it. You tell him. I kind of like that. That David sort of goes out in a kind of quiet way compared to all the others. Never noticed that the music sort of plays when he looks at him like that. Weird.
Don't ever invite a vampire into your house, you silly boy. It renders you powerless.
Did you know that?
That's interesting. He can still enter, but
Everyone knows that.
Has everyone gone
him being, I forgot about that. The fact that he got invited in is what null and voided all the shit
After all
earlier on.
Lucy.
Oh my god! Oh, that's so good. Fucking explosion, why not?
One thing about living in Santa Carla I never could stomach. All the damn vampires.
one of my favourite ending lines to a movie ever. And their faces. Oh, so good. Oh, that's fun. That is a fun time. Alright, that was the reaction, breakdown, commentary of The Lost Boys. If you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up button. Let other people know you liked it, and it helps this video get seen by other people. Maybe consider subscribing as well so you don't miss any future videos. That's always a good thing. But for now, we're going to talk about this movie and just lay it all down, tell you what I think about it. So the first thing I'll bring up is that, having not watched this for a little while, the thing that really hits me is that it stands up incredibly well. Like, there's only a couple of effect shots that don't look quite right, or they look of their time, I should say. Like, there's a couple of, you could see the feathered edges around the actors when they're shooting off up the ground and stuff, especially in sort of the final fight between Michael and David. That you can sort of see the edges, as it were, on that one. But everything else, it holds up remarkably well. Like, the practical effects are glorious in this, all the gore stuff, even though it's kind of slightly toned down. But yeah, all the effect stuff is really impressive. I honestly thought going into this now that I'd pick up on stuff that might not work quite as well, but frankly, really surprised that it all holds up really well, other than, maybe 2 or 3 shots that look a bit ropey. And then the obvious other thing that dates this movie is just some of the outfits. Especially some of the outfits that Sam is wearing in the movie. Whew, they are some doozies, but frankly, I can see some people wearing that shit now. So, circles, fashion goes round in a circle, it always comes back, I suppose. One thing I did really like that I picked up watching it this time around that I haven't really noticed before, it's kind of obvious with David. He's got the big sort of black jacket, which is sort of meant to resemble the sort of Dracula cape, if you like. But I liked on Michael, they sort of played with the sort of leather collar on the jacket, and that they sort of framed it and lit it in such a way that was kind of reminiscent of a Bela Lugosi kind of style of vampire. That was just a neat little image I think they put in here. I like that quite a bit. And that sort of links into the whole thing. What I really adore about this movie is how it soaks up traditional vampire lore and then just bams it into the 80s. You know what I mean? Obviously, at the time when the movie came out, it was a contemporary version of the vampire tale, right? It's the whole idea of someone getting manipulated and transformed, and and all the romanticized stuff of it. All of that is there, but put with an 80s backdrop and style put onto it. Obviously, looking at it now in 2021, it's now this weird 80s version of a traditional kind of vampire story, and I don't know, I think if anything, I think that sort of accelerates it. It makes it the stylized look of it makes it feel even more just fun to look at visually. It's all very good stuff. I feel I enjoy the look of it, despite how over the top it is. And from what I gather from when I've sort of looked at some of the making of stuff for this film, they kind of admit that the costumes for the sort of the vampires in particular were kind of over the top by design. They wanted them to sort of stand out from the crowd and give a feel of their otherworldliness, for a lack of another word. They want to stand out. They are the outsiders from society, and their clothes are meant to kind of represent that in some way, but also to make them look cooler than everybody else, because vampires in monster lore, they're traditionally the cool, sort of suave, alluring ones. So I think it suits it falls into that traditional vampire stuff with the sort of 80s makeover on top of it, which is fun. All of that stuff is fun. Also, this is one of those movies that has all these sort of little nuggets that they throw in, little setups and then payoffs later down, him being afraid of the closet door being left open when he's trying to sleep, and it's just such a small little payoff to this gag that Star is hiding in the closet at the end at the final fight and pops out. It's such a random little thing to set up and pay off in such a almost trivial way. Blink and you'll kind of miss it and not pay attention to it, but there's lots of little bits like that in the movie which were enjoyable. Like I said in the reaction, I really liked that they get their sort of manual to vampires is comic books, which is just kind of a fun spin on it. Obviously in traditional vampire lore, your Draculas and Van Helsing's is he studies it from a book, like a big textbook, and like holy writings and all that kind of stuff, and that's how they learn how to defeat the vampires and that kind of stuff. Here we have, like, again, a modern take on it, is that they learn about them through vampire comics and stuff, which is a fun little twist to that, where it, as I say, still remains somewhat traditional in that they are learning about vampires via text and literature, but in the form of comic books. That's just a fun twist that I enjoy as well. Another thing I sort of didn't notice the first time I've watched it is how susceptible Michael is to conforming and wanting to sort of become something else if it means he gets to like be a part of something. And like I say in the reaction, like you see him sort of actively changing who he is before he's even drank the blood. Like he's actually buying clothes he wouldn't ordinarily wear, getting his ear pierced. Like he just wants to fit in. He wants to be a part of the allure of the cool group, and you know it's an interesting way of setting up some stakes where you don't know where he's going to go if you hadn't seen the film before. Like, is he going to be able to resist this transformation, or is he going to fall into it, because it's already setting up that he is very easily sort of manipulated into like peer pressure and stuff. And that's why when he sort of overcomes it and says, no, this isn't me, I have my own blood in me, I'm my own person, it's a great sort of victory, heroic moment where he sort of overcomes that sort of want to be something that he isn't, and just for the sake of like fitting in. It's a great little subtle thing I think the movie does, and I didn't really pick up on it before, but watching it again here, it's an interesting thing. I think that's a fun thing that they do here. It just gives them a good character arc, but for essentially our sort of main character, it's a good sort of crux for you to watch that journey unfold and be on it with him, because I feel like we all can relate to that in some way, this idea of we want to be something because we think it will help us fit in with the people we want to fit in with, and you know, it's a relatable thing, and I think the movie sort of tells that story really well, and in great visual ways, and yeah, it's good stuff. I'd kind of forgotten how much I really enjoy Kiefer Sutherland in this movie. He just plays it just right. Like he knows that he's meant to be sort of a modern take on a vampire, but at the same time he does that kind of whispery, kind of alluring voice, and like he knows he's meant to be like this come hither kind of manipulation, like join us kind of thing, and it's good. It's a good performance from me. I think it's like quite subtle and there's some nuance there, and again it's that sort of traditional balance with like the Bela Lugosi look into my eyes, the kind of performance of you will be taken in by me, and but he doesn't do it with his eyes, he does it with his voice. He does this great kind of gentle but violent performance. It's a great balance that he strikes, and I really enjoy his performance in this. It's good stuff from him, and I think all the cast is really good. I think they're all very enjoyable and funny, and just create a great atmosphere, or a romping adventure with vampires in it. And I think all the cast sort of get it, you know, they get where everyone in the cast sort of gets what the movie is and what they're a part of, and plays into it. Another thing I mentioned in the reaction, but I also just to bring it up again, it's a great use of how the vampire powers work by like showing the flying via POV rather than having too many heavy effect shots where you have to have your actors or stunt people on wires, even though there's some great wire work, especially when David's like floating out of the house and all that stuff. That's really good stuff, but it's just a quick, easy way for the director to sort of visualize these guys flying through the air just via a POV of a camera. It's a good trick to use, and also like the sort of mind-bending stuff, like it's subtly done when like Kiefer Sutherland is tricking Michael into thinking he's eating maggots and worms. Like there's no audio visual cue to show when he's like in his head manipulating him. It's just these, again, just very subtle, like you don't need to signpost it, you sort of understand it without having to. It's just fun. I like that amongst all this bigness of the movie and this big, this raw 80s fun big stuff, you get these nice little subtle moments throughout the movie. It's good stuff. I feel like the only part of the movie that I struggle to buy into directly is sort of Star and Michael just instantly falling in love. Like it's like literally a case of love at first sight. Like they've known each other 2 evenings and they're already like banging each other. And it's like, I know that she is meant to see hope in him and like a way to escape this whole world. Like she feels like he is the key to get out of this and to help her and the kid out of this situation. But it's just a little bit like, I get that the whole movie is very romanticized and like in that up the ante kind of way. And but that's the one thing I feel like their relationship isn't quite developed in the same way that everything else in the movie feels like it is. Like it feels like, well, we need them to fall in love, so let's just have them kiss and boom, done. Let's move. Let's keep going. Let's keep the train rolling. And then obviously I've got to bring up like the Frog Brothers. Like they are this great like amalgamation again of tradition and 80s. Like they are 80s pastiches of 80s action heroes like Rambo mixed in with Van Helsing. Like what would Van Helsing be like if he was operating in the 1980s? Oh, of course he'd be a couple of teenagers who read comic books and pretend they're Rambo and are kind of scared about what they're doing, but put on this face of, yeah, we know what we're doing. We're tough. We know we do this all the time. Of course, that's what Van Helsing would be in the 80s, naturally. And then one thing I've sort of picked up on here because I've seen more of his work since seeing this movie is that this feels like a Richard Donner movie. Even though he didn't direct it, Joel Schumacher directed this, but he produced it. It really feels like a Richard Donner movie. Like it feels like The Goonies. It feels like it's got that kind of humor to it. It also kind of like visually, even though he's not directing it, visually it kind of has like an air of Lethal Weapon to it, like the sort of hot environment and just I don't know what it is exactly. I can't pin it down, but it just has that look to it, that Richard Donner movie look. And you know, you can just sort of tell. It's one of those things when you can just sort of tell that a certain person is involved with a project just by the way it looks. Like you know Steven Spielberg movie when you see it, even if he just produced it, because it still looks like a Steven Spielberg movie. And it's kind of the same with Richard Donner, I find, like having sort of seen more of the Lethal Weapon movies recently and The Goonies and obviously like Superman, which you manages to pay reference to both Goonies and Superman in this. So that's fun. But yeah, I just sort of picked up on that a little bit more watching it, that you could see his fingerprints on this. But no, overall it's a really fun movie. I really enjoy it. I'm happy I watched it again because it's been a little while since I've sat and watched the whole thing, and it's just a really good time, honestly. It's a fun movie, with especially if you love vampires and 80s and sort of, I wouldn't say it's a horror movie, but it's a very sort of horror light kind of movie. There's nothing outright scary here, but it's just a fun sort of like a spooky house ride kind of movie, and I enjoy it greatly for that. So ranking wise, for my personal ranking, I think I would give, I mean, this is going to sound ridiculous, I think, because I've watched other movies which are, you know, critically acclaimed darlings, and I've given them, you know, good scores and stuff, but I have to give Lost Boys a 9 out of 10 just because I get so much just personal pleasure from it. It's so much fun. It's got so much stuff that I find appealing in it and fun to watch out, both aesthetically and storytelling and characters. Like all of it just gels so well, and it's just a fun watch. So yeah, I'm giving this a 9 out of 10, and you try and stop me. It's a great movie, and if you haven't seen it, you should go out and watch it for yourselves. Thank you for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up button. It lets other people know you liked it and helps the video get seen by other people. Maybe consider subscribing as well, and that will help us out as well here, and you know, you won't miss any future stuff as well, so that's always good. And there's plenty of other content to go check out on the channel, so please do that as well. Other than that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you on the next one.